Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Darkin, it's a very exciting day if you're a Sega fan or a House of the Dead fan, because we're going to be talking about the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn. I know what you're thinking. I've talked about this video game on the channel before, and that is 100% true. And even though it'd be fun to talk about it again, just as a review, this is a completely different thing. That is because a developer out there going by the name of Michelle D actually went into the game code and basically reconfigured the entire game, so now you actually have gore when you're shooting at the zombies in the House of the Dead, because that was absolutely a massive letdown. You remember the original House of the Dead having all the destructible chunks of meat that you could blow off a zombie, turning them basically into bone, and that was something that was previewed for Scarlet Dawn in videos. When the game actually came out, it was 100% sanitized, and there was no gore in any of the zombie shooting. Now, as of today, all the gore has been worked back into the game, and when I say this was absolutely an undertaking of love that took, I'm sure, a ton of time, I 100% mean it. But now you can play the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn with destructible enemies, turning them into piles of skeletons, and actually getting the violence back in the House of the Dead, something that I was sorely missing when this game came out. Before I get too much further involved, though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And if you notice in this capture, sometimes I'm basically shooting around the enemy but not trying to kill them. That is because I want those gore effects on screen longer. So when this game first went to preview and it was shown at a couple arcade shows, you saw chunks of meat coming off the zombies, you saw blood, and you saw them dissolving into piles of skeletons. In the final game, they basically just flashed and then blew backwards and faded out like they were apparitions, not actual horrifying monsters trying to consume your flesh. That is all now 100% back, and the only instance I saw where it didn't quite work perfectly is right here. You see that gigantic pile of skeletons drags down the game engine ever so slightly, which actually makes me wonder if it wasn't just a censorship thing from Sega trying to get a lower rating, but absolutely, in some instances, the skeletons causing a little bit of slowdown in the game engine. And while we're never going to find out the exact answer as to why Sega removed it, if it was a combination of the two, which would be my assumption, now today when you shoot a zombie, it actually looks like that zombie got shot, and that makes this game that much more fun, that much more impactful, and that much more the House of the Dead in and of itself. And basically, this is not some sort of asset swap. This isn't putting new models in. The developer on this one went actually into the game code and relinked absolutely every piece of code to have this actually load up into the game. Because all of the graphical effects you're seeing here, all of the gore you can see on the pause menu, which I'm sitting on, and all of the skeleton animations, they are within the build of the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn that you probably played once, twice, or like 30 times if you're me, video game esoterica. But they were basically deprecated from the code, so they would never load in as assets. None of the logic or animation would ever show up. It was there, but it just wasn't linked together. So going into the actual game and going ahead and linking that all back together is absolutely a massive undertaking, because it's not like there is a Scarlet Dawn decomp that you can work from the source code on. You have to actually basically go in and start trying to amend code and testing it and making sure everything works correctly without the source code. And that is 10 out of 10 hard mode, and this is absolutely a love letter to the House of the Dead and Sega fans, because Michelle D here maybe did the best quote-unquote ROM hack of 2026 so far, in my opinion. Now, of course, I am biased, because if you know me and you know the channel, you know I love three things: Sega arcade games, light gun games, and House of the Dead games, and obviously this has all three things going for it. But now it has that elusive fourth thing going for it, which is actual gore in a horror game. And it really is funny that Sega basically took that away for the age rating, while they left Kate Green absolutely stacked, like she's whirling around with two kegs up in that dress. It's just one of those things. I don't understand why some people care about one thing but not the other. It's basically a game where you shoot zombies. The only glitch I saw there is that they all basically T-posed as they were in burnt flesh mode, which is absolutely a pretty funny bug, and it doesn't happen every single time, but it can happen here and there, and it is kind of amusing. But I have played this game from start to finish with the gore patch applied. Everything works perfectly fine. You can play the game, enjoy it, and now actually feel like you're playing a real zombie game. Because I get it, Sega was trying to get that elusive teens age rating, but it really leaves a lot to be desired when the zombies just basically dissolve into apparitions. Let's do a soundtrack sample, because if you've never played the game before, I want you to understand what it sounds like and how the audio dialogue is basically absolutely terrible in the best ways. And I'll be right back with more gore.
So, what are we gonna do now?
Make preparations for now.
You mean run?
The will is important, even though things are the same.
Shoot! What is this, clown car?
I'll cover you.
Good at running.
I would say the best part of Scarlet Dawn used to be the absolutely terrible voice acting, which you know was done intentionally, because at this point in time, Sega knew how to get good voice actors, but they kind of kept it hokey like the rest of the series. But from House of the Dead 1 to 2, you got some amazing gore. In House of the Dead 3, it was still there, looked slightly different. In House of the Dead 4, they definitely watered it down, so by the time you got to Scarlet Dawn, it didn't really feel like a horror game. Sure, you were in this quote-unquote haunted mansion aesthetic going on here, but otherwise it really felt like you were basically playing a game that decided it wasn't actually going to be horror. It would just kind of have the trappings of horror around the edges. That is exactly what this patch does. It adds the horror back in, and it completely changes the entire overall tone of the game, and in my opinion, for so much better, because this is what you want. If you're mowing down group after group, horde after horde of zombie, you don't want to feel like you're basically shooting stuffed animals that happen to move around the area and screen. It doesn't really work when you don't have the gore, and it works extra well when you're actually using the ray gun here. I just love seeing those skeletons dissolve out from the actual models and then turn into a pile on the floor, and sometimes they even have a couple frames of pause animation where the skeleton will be reaching into the sky like it knows what's coming, and then it'll hilariously just basically crumble down into a pile of other skeleton bones. It is so much fun, it is such a big difference, and it is such a massive amount of work, because this isn't like there's just a flag in the executable that says gore mode on, yes or no, 1 or 0. It isn't a binary thing, it's actually all of the logic that needs to be linked up for this to work and to be smooth and fluid, and I'm sure it took a massive amount of testing from Michelle D to actually get this thing to the state it's in. And the nicest thing is it is just a patching executable. You double click it. I will leave a link in the description below to my Discord where the file is right now, because it's kind of out there on the internet but hard to find. You target one file in the actual Scarlet Dawn game, and then it goes ahead and patches itself back to the gore version. And if for some reason you ever want to go back, which I doubt anyone would, you can unpatch it back to vanilla as well. It's one of those things. I love the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn. I still play it once every like 6 months or so, and it's one of those things. I was trying to get a 1cc on it, but I wasn't getting good quick enough, so I kind of gave up on that. But now that we have gore back in the game, it's the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn I always wanted, and it's not like we get many patches for arcade games out there either. It is kind of the deep end of the ROM hacking swimming pool, but now that this is here, it is probably my favorite arcade ROM hack ever made. And again, at the end, it is still the same base game, which is a ton of fun, but now when you actually shoot a zombie, you feel like you're playing a House of the Dead game and not a sanitized version that Sega put out there. One more soundtrack sample just because the music in the game is great, and I'll be right back.
Seems the left goes to floor 3, the right to floor 2. This way. All right. We'll just trust my instincts.
Player 1 dead.
We'll have to jump.
Player 1 damage.
I just love the vibes of the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn, from the overall graphics to the presentation to the setting to the voice acting and obviously the gameplay. I've always loved the House of the Dead franchise, and Scarlet Dawn is my second favorite game after the original. But now they took a game that was already a 10 out of 10 in my opinion and moved it up to a 69 out of 10, because Michelle D, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, you absolutely nailed the brief on this one, and I can't even imagine the inordinate amount of hours you spent just to basically give us the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn that we should have gotten in the first place. And it's one of those things, again, age ratings are so weird out there when it comes to video games, because honestly, is it really that bad to see a couple chunks of meat and a skeleton coming out of a zombie? I don't think it is, but apparently Sega decided back in the day when this thing came out, and it is old now if you believe it, that they had to sanitize the ever-loving hell out of Scarlet Dawn, and it just didn't work the same way as every other game in the franchise did. But now that historical wrong has been righted by Michelle D, he absolutely just destroyed it when it comes to making this ROM hack, and I'm so glad that they did it. But short of that, if you want to play this one again, go ahead and join my Discord. It's where I know the patch is going to be, because things come and go all the time, because it's just a patch. I don't mind hosting it all that much. And if you've never played the House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn before, this should be a reminder to you that it's a straight up amazing game. And if you haven't played it, you're 100% missing out. And if you haven't played it with gore, you're missing out 200%. But short of that, we're done. I'm going to blow some more zombies into bones, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.